Hello? Yeah, I'm just playing Assassin's Creed. We're going to go see the film later. No, I can't wait. I love Assassin's Creed. No, if it's rubbish, I'm going to throw myself off a roof. Right, screw it. Let's just do it. Assassin's Creed is a movie based on the game franchise of the same name, which I am a massive fan of. I mean, I don't really game that much, but I have played every Assassin's Creed game to completion, and even put up with the not so good in the franchise, so I am the target audience. I am the person you don't have to put any effort into winning over, and you really f***ed the landing here, guys. Going into this, I was like, video game and movie translations don't exactly have a good track record, but I'd heard tons of positive hype about the dedication to the source material, so I was optimistic. I'm a massive fan of the game, so of course I wanted the movie adaptation, but then again, I'm a massive fan of the game, so of course I didn't want a movie adaptation. I promised myself I'd keep an open mind, and I really thought it was going to turn out alright for a little bit of time, because it starts off strong with some text about the lore, and Michael Fassbender's ancestor character being indoctrinated into the creed by having his finger chopped off, which I really didn't think they'd include in a film that's a 12A, and other things like that that made the inner fanboy in me squeal with excitement at what was to come. But then it turned out that bit of time lasted approximately 2 minutes, because this film goes downhill fast. First of all, let's talk about some things I did like about this movie, because I know this review is going to be overly negative, and I want to make it clear there was parts of it that I did enjoy. The action is amazing. You can tell they went to lengths to do as much of the stunt work and fighting as in camera as possible. I mean, stuntman Damien Walters even jumped off a 125-foot platform for real to pull off one of the highest stunt falls in 35 years. 125 feet? That's like at least 2 buses? What else was good? The costumes, they were pretty neat. Marion Cotillard's face, that was pleasant. Seriously, it's Assassin's Creed. How hard can it be to make a good movie based on something that's already done all the work for you? All you needed to do was have a shot of Michael Fassbender putting on a hood and playing with his wrist stabbers. I mean, if all you'd have shown me was a 30-second live action alien assassination and then rolled credits, I'd have been fine with that. I'd have left completely satisfied, but well, it turns out it must be pretty hard when you're working under Ubisoft, because this is pants. And I do mean when working under Ubisoft, because all of the actors in this are of a high caliber, and Justin Kurzel is a really good director. I mean, just look at Macbeth, which he also directed with Marion Cotillard and Michael Fassbender. That is a beautifully shot, well crafted movie that he obviously had a lot more creative control over. Now it's in the hands of Ubisoft and it just falls apart. Things just don't make sense. The plot is nonsensical, which is ridiculous when you think about the fact that one of the most appealing aspects of the game is its history exploring plot. I mean, the plot of this movie is basically the bad guy saying, right mate, we need you to put on this massive VR headset so that you can access your ancestors' memories, and we can chase a magic apple that we lost about 600 years ago. Well, why is the apple magic? Well, it can cure violence. What do you mean it can cure violence? That makes no sense. Like, I know, but this movie cost us like $125 million. Just go with it. And then you've got the animus, which is how he accesses the memories. And in the game, it's just a bed that you lie down in and things play out. But in the movie, it's this huge robotic arm that flings him about the room like a claw machine. But again, by doing that, it makes no sense. When we have action set in the past and we see Fassbender doing something cool like scaling a wall or fighting a bad guy, it repeatedly cuts between that and the modern day Fast doing the exact same thing held up by the arm, which is fine, but surely that means that when past Bender is running in a straight line, that means that present Bender is repeatedly running into walls. Or like when past Bender is riding a horse, does that mean that present Bender is sitting in the middle of the room going like this? And I can get why they do it, because lying down in a bed is just not that cinematic, and you think that we as an audience have such short attention spans that we constantly need things flying about in front of our face. But look at a movie that has a very similar concept, The Matrix. That doesn't have a massive mechanical contraption belting Neo across the room, because it doesn't need it. They sit down in the chair, they get plugged in, and the other storyline takes over. That's all we need. And then there's the editing of the film, which is just downright sloppy. I mean, it's not Suicide Squad bad or Taken 3, 14 cuts to go over a fence bad, but it's not far off. Right at the beginning when we see Fassbender being sworn in, he takes the Creed's oath and he looks into the distance all super seriously, and then the camera lingers for just a fraction too long and his character looks up. Which could of course mean anything, but honestly it looks like maybe he regrets a decision he just made, and in some of the action scenes it's genuinely difficult to keep a track of what some of the characters are doing. There are so many rapid cuts from multiple angles and it can get a bit jarring, constantly cutting between close-up shots of loads of people in similar costumes and Fassbender in the animus. Not to mention the fact that every scene in the past is basically a fight or a chase scene and enemies spring out of nowhere. I mean, there are literally aerial shots that show the lead characters with a massive gap between them and their pursuers, and then it will cut immediately to a close-up of them fighting a bunch of guys that have somehow teleported right in front of them. Look, I've already spent way too much time talking about this and I haven't even gone into detail about some of the faults that I wanted to talk about, so what I'm going to do now, to not waste any more of my own time, is just scroll across the screen some of the faults that I wanted to talk about and now just can't be bothered with. It seems to me that the less of an affinity you have for the game, the more you'll enjoy the movie, because practically all the good reviews I've read for this have started off with the line, "I haven't played Assassin's Creed, but..." And I guess I'm a bit biased being a massive fan of the game franchise, but I can tell you that this movie does not understand what makes Assassin's Creed special to his fans. It's roughly a 70-30 split between present and past, and I think they should have spent a lot more time in the past because that's where the fun is. It doesn't need to be a huge conspiracy story. I mean, what's wrong with just making it a small, contained story set in the past and then building on it later? I mean, what if it was just like a single mission that the Assassin's Creed has to take out, like, you know, maybe an actual assassination? All the brilliant action and visuals don't add anything when the story that they're wrapped around is utter crap. So I'm going to give Assassin's Creed 2 popcorns. It's just not worth your money, and what annoys me most is how promising it could have been. How it should have been. Thanks so much for watching my review of Assassin's Creed. If you liked it, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, and if you want to see more, consider subscribing. Click the box below to see other videos, and I've got the code, so I'm going to go bye.